Greetings, this is Chloe, Chloe's Nook, and I think on YouTube I just have myself as Chloe Neville. I mentioned while I was doing the 31 Days of Control that I had a couple ideas for some using box, and this one's going to be about edging and kind of trimming, but not really, more like mostly about edging. So, sorry. Ooh, I am so, ooh, got a bit of too much sun today. My boys, oh goodness. My boys went skiing. I don't ski, so I ended up kind of waiting around for everybody, and I guess I got a little too much sun. Okay. Yeah, my husband was skiing, but he ended up having me take care of getting him into class and all that, and ended up hanging around waiting for them to get done. Anyways, okay. Yes, edging. So I saw a really cool video and about trimming the Oracle of the Mermaids, and I'd seen some edgings people had done in mostly purple for the Oracle of the Mermaids by Lucy Cavendish and who's the artist again? Lucy Cavendish and Selena Finch. So Lucy Cavendish and Selena Finch. Okay, and I loved the look of it edged. I really liked the basic setup that they had for this deck, but I loved so much the look of it, how the whole visual just pops, and it's actually fits really well in my hands. Before I always was like kind of barely holding it before, but now this deck fits really well. It's trimmed. So for trimming, I just use a pair of scissors that I have that's only for trimming or working on paper crafts. And then I have one of those corner cutter tools. For the edging, I mostly decided that I really like working with Sharpie products for edging. There's some that I may have to look in certain colors. I might have to look elsewhere, but for these bolder colors, I found some colored. I didn't even know Sharpie came in so many colors. But so the two I used for this one is actually the light blue. I don't even think there's a name on this for what the color is, but I think there might have been on the package. So I used light chiseled tip blue and the purple chiseled Sharpie. And what these look like, you probably know what this is, but I'll show for anyone who might not know. It is a slanted, nice, flat, fairly thick. Not as thick as the big, huge black one I have. But so what I did was originally I was going to just do purple, and then I noticed, just do the purple, and then I noticed that the tops, the cards, after the trimming, I left the numbers in. Like I didn't try to trim them out because I find patterns in numbers, not necessarily numerology, but my own, how I work with numbers, sometimes numerology. So anyways, I just didn't want to cut the numbers off. And let me see if I can just slide some, and you'll see. I noticed some were in purple and pink tones that would match better with the purple Sharpie, but then I noticed some were in, like, say, tan or gray or just different tones, you know. So here's some. I'll try to have the camera focus in on the cards instead of me. There we go. It's starting to do it. Okay. There we go. So if you can see that, see how there's different colors at the top? And I had already done some of the cards, so because I had originally intended to do just the purple, right? But then I noticed that I felt that some of the colors on the number section there, I felt would match better with like the blue, and this already had like two or three different tones. I'm not really fond of yellow, so I already decided not to do any yellow. But I ended up doing the rest, dividing them up with the color palette I was finding that was surrounding the numbers, and using that to help me decide. And sometimes the background palettes of the cards themselves, I allowed that to help me decide if I hadn't already, if it wasn't part of the group that I'd already just colored. Yeah, this one got the blue edge. And the front is mostly blue. And yeah, so that's how I decided on this. And I think it looks really cool. And it's actually kind of muted here on the screen, but in person it's quite bold in color. And I really like it. I really like how it looks. So, and I know most people want it all a solid color or a set pattern that goes all the way through the edge, but I kind of like this. And if I find that it's distracting or it isn't working for me, I'll just go through and do the purple on all of them probably, because I don't think I could edge out the purple that's already on there, but I know that I can blend blue into a darker purplish color. So yeah, that'll probably be what I end up doing if I decide I don't like this. But for now, I really like it the way it is, and I've shuffled a few times, and so far I'm really enjoying having this kind of multicolor purple on the Oracle of the Mermaids. Multicolor blue and purple. Yeah. There you go. Okay. So then I was on a roll. And as everybody knows, the Circle of Life Tarot comes with a lovely bluish purple border, mostly almost like an indigo blue, purplish blue. And I originally was just going to do purple, but the purple in the Sharpie was too bright on this one. Now let me see if I can show you the difference. Let's see, I may have to, oh, I should have thought of this before. Let me just get a small handful of the purple in the Mermaids and with some of the blue out. Yeah, I think that might be enough to show the difference. Yeah, that should do. Okay. Okay, so here is the original color of the purple Sharpie on the Mermaid's edge. Okay. And this is what I got when I blended this darker blue with the purple Sharpie and the chiseled tip Sharpies. So here's the original purple. This is the purple by itself. Okay. And I'll just take some of these and show you the other one. So here is on the Circle of Life Tarot. With both the blue and the purple. And it's much darker. I felt the blue is not matching enough to the purplish blue of the border, but I felt the purple was too bright of a purple or light of a purple to really blend well with the color. So let's see if I can show that. See, yeah, it's much lighter or brighter depending on how you want to think of it. I just didn't think it meshed very well. So I decided to combine colors, and I got this really deep, lovely, what I feel is perfect color for the edge. It's a little darker, but it's not very noticeable on the edge. Actually gives it kind of a shiny look. I kind of like. I think it matches pretty well. And I don't really mind things being a shade darker or lighter than what they're supposed to be. Of course, it's awesome if they perfectly match, but I don't mind a little bit difference. So I really like that instead of having a white edge. And I think it looks cool fanned now too. It gives it a nice deep color. So this is the Circle of Life Tarot. And then last but not least, I edged the Oracle of the Shapeshifters by Lucy Cavendish with a copper, the finer point Sharpie bronze. Okay, I edged this with it, and I did this color because I felt it matched the outer edge on the board, the outer border, and the one on the inside, on the sides, because there is no border on the top. I felt it matched in tone really well with the copper. I felt the gold didn't match well enough. It was too antique looking, is the best word I could use, with like almost a gold yet brownish tone to it. Or I don't know how to explain it. Sorry for the wiggles. I had to move my leg. So I really liked the look of this with the bronze on it now. It was so white before. Looks so cool. And it has a little bit of a metallic edge look that this type of Sharpie tends to have. Just, yeah, I think it's really good. So I think it was a good choice, and I really like how the deck looks now. I decided I wasn't going to try to trim because if you notice, the borders are not really that even. This one's a little thinner than this side, but then if you turn it on this side, these aren't exactly even either on either side. And I don't know if that's on purpose or if that's just something to do with how they're cut in the cutting machine that they use to cut decks, or from the molds or whatever. But I don't mind that. I like it. And I think it suits the tones in the artwork of the deck. And with it having like a creamy beige border, inner border, and then that goldish orangey curling edge on this border. Let's see if I'll focus in a little bit. Yeah, can you see the curls? I just felt this match so much better, and it looks really cool fanned not to have a white edge. So it looks really cool. I like using the Sharpies because they're, if you have a glossy finish on your cards, even if you make small mistakes along the borders, you can go through and rub, dampen with like a paper towel or a cloth and rub the glossy part. It stays really well on the non-glossy part because this is an unfinished edge. I know it looks like a pretty sharp edge, but it's actually not sealed on the edges unless they put coloring or gilding or whatever on there. And the Sharpie just soaks in on those. And it gives it kind of a finish, so it's cool. And yeah, so having the glossy on it makes it so you can make repairs, like if you got a bit on the outer edge border, easily you can go back through and go, okay, there's a little too much, get it damp, rub it off. Pretty simple. So yeah, those are the ones that I did this with. The Circle of Life Tarot, the Oracle of the Shapeshifters, and the Oracle of the Mermaids. I ended up doing the gold version of the fine point Sharpies, kind of a silver, metallic-y gold, on the Shadows and Light because it matched the edge of that best in tones on the borders of the back and the front. And so yeah, this is really fun. I really enjoy edging. It helps me take time to really look at my cards. It also is a great, oh, excuse me, it's been a long day over at the ski resort. It also is good to keep my hands busy without it, being a very difficult craft project. And it adds, I feel the time I take in doing this adds a bit of my own energy and personality to the deck, the energy of the currents of the deck. And yeah, so if you don't want to trim your decks, but you would still like to personalize your decks. I find edging is really cool, and I know people are using like crafting ink stamps and other ways to do ink, but I had heard some very messy situations going on with that, and I decided that I kind of like the Sharpie better so far. I may change my mind if there's some colors that they can't help me with, at least for some. But yeah, so here's my little bit on edging some of my decks with my new Sharpie pens. All right, I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you have a very, very good evening. Bye-bye. Peace out.